I'm starting with Chelsea. And the point that I wanted to make was, I mentioned this in the audio that you can't hear anymore, but the point that I was trying to make was that I'm basically done with this team. I don't know if it is because of Graham Potter, solely on him. I don't know if it's because the performance of the players or whatever the case is. But that being said, it's just I'm so crossed between two mindsets with this team, because on one end there's the club and on one end there's Graham Potter. And it's literally like the angel and devil analogy, that I'm experiencing right now. On the one hand, I'm saying, get rid of this guy. He hasn't done enough to show that he deserves to be there. The results just aren't there as well. I can't see a positive outcome coming from Graham Potter being there in the short term or in the long term, because his success at Brighton eclipsed years and years. And I don't even want to say that he has had success there, because all he's basically done is, yes, he's gained promotion, which is massive for the club. And that's going to provide funds for the club year after year, whether he's there or not. And that's amazing. That's a great feat in itself. But there are different expectations from being at a club like Brighton, where your main goal is promotion and then just stay in the league, pretty much. Now the fact that he's at Chelsea, his goal is to win trophies and to win Champions League possibly, and to win the league for sure. And, they've already been bounced from the Carabao or the League Cup, which we'll talk about later. I'll talk about later. United winning that. But they've already been bounced from that tournament, of course, and been bounced from the FA Cup as well. He needs to show results, and those are pipe dreams now. Like, I can't see this team competing for trophies anytime soon. Like, obviously this year they're going to be winless in the trophy category. But in his last 10 games, guys, he hasn't even had a positive result. He hasn't shown anything in almost 10 matches with this club. Last 5 games, just for recency bias, last 5 games, 3 draws, 2 losses. That's poor. That is a poor showing from a club who is supposed to win every single game. And I know that's not going to happen. You look at the Arsenals, you look at the Man Cities, even like Liverpool is its own kind of thing. But the Uniteds, they're not winning 5 games in a row. That doesn't really happen very often. 5 matches in a row, 6 matches in a row, that would be incredible. But Chelsea's actually winless in that time period. They're winless in 5. 3 draws, 2 losses, just terrible. But then, on the other hand, I think of Mikel Arteta, Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, and the time it took for them to establish their chemistry, their mindset in their club. And it took at least a year or 2 for them to really start showing results. But then it happened. The results came. I mean, Arteta is on the way to winning the title. Let's just say this is how it ends up. They're currently 5 points up, same amount of matches played with Man City. 5 points ahead, 13 games to play. Let's just say they finish it off. Within a 3 to 4 year period, Mikel Arteta brings this team from not being in Europe to being back in the Europa League, very close to Champions League last year, and potentially winning the title this year. Jurgen Klopp, we've seen what he's done with Liverpool. Rocky start, yes. Took him some time to get established, but then once Liverpool was firing on all cylinders, they were unstoppable. And then Pep Guardiola, he speaks for himself. Just in the success that he's had basically in every position that he's been in. So that's on the other hand that I'm thinking of. Can Graham Potter rise to the expectations of those managers and be given the leeway by ownership, by Todd Bowley, to actually have this team be successful in a 2 to 3 year time period? I know for right now it's tough. I'm going through it with the team. It's very hard to watch each game and out. But is he there for a longer period of time than this small sample size? Is this small sample size too small of a sample size to grade Graham Potter and criticize him for the lack of results that Chelsea's getting? Does he need more time? Should he be allowed to have more time? It remains to be seen. He's coming out saying now that his job is on the line. Clearly, there's been a lot of backlash from fan bases. Obviously, I mean that's That's granted with just being the atmosphere of the English Premier League. But just in comparison to North American sports, which Todd Boehly is obviously very used to, the fan bases count. Fan bases matter. And I'm not saying that the English fan bases aren't outspoken, because they very clearly are. I mean, I don't see other fan bases in North America, not rioting, but, collecting themselves outside of the gates of the stadium and protesting. And, I remember the days saying Wenger out and everything like that, and Solskjaer out. Those very well happened. But at the same time, the ownerships of these giant Premier League clubs, a lot of them are kind of behind the scenes owners. They might have a couple stakes in the club. They might be shareholders and they own the team, minority-wise with other ownership and other groups and everything like that, and they don't have a full investment in the club. Todd Boehly owns this team. Todd Boehly owns Chelsea. He's a single person. He's not a corporation. He's a single man who owns this team. And yes, he has, backing behind him, a management and staff and people underneath him that advise him, but he's very well aware of the popularity of this club. He's very well aware of the outrage happening right now from the fan base. And at the end of the day, it was his decision to get rid of Thomas Tuchel as early as he did. It was his decision to bring in Graham Potter as early as he did. And I feel like if he was to let go of Graham Potter now, he would be the one with the egg on his face. He would look like a fool for how he's run this team in the first 300 days, basically, that he's been there. And I don't know if he wants to have that on his record. I don't know if he wants to face the scrutiny of that. But again, it's a business decision. Do you go find Diego Simeone? Do you go find Zinedine Zidane to come in here? Do you bring Mourinho back? I've seen rumors of that. Do you bring Tuchel back possibly? I've seen rumors of that as well. I mean, I don't know. But I just feel like right now it's a very strange time to be a Chelsea supporter, just because the outcome and the future of this team depends on a lot of different factors all coming together, whether it be the ownership, figuring out what they need from this team, whether it be Graham Potter getting the best of his players, whether it be another player to come into the mix. They've only bought in 15 this year. Is 15 not enough? With the amount of players that they brought in, they can, basically field an entire squad plus reserves, plus a bench, just in new signings this year since August. Does that fall on the recruitment staff? Does it fall on the scouting staff? I don't know. End of the day, this team is in shambles. They're in 10th place. And the only reason why they're sitting in 10th place with having three draws in their last 5 matches is because all the teams behind them stink. Let's be real. With the last 2 matches on the calendar, the 10 teams behind Chelsea, they have 5 wins. 5 out of 20 matches played have been wins in the teams chasing Chelsea from spots 11 to 20. And that's the only reason why they're still in 10th place. Because any other team, any other side, any other gear, any other league possibly, you have 3 points in your last 5 games, you're dropping positions like crazy. And Chelsea's kind of just staying there in that middle ground. They're a very 10th place team. We talked about it before. They're -2 now on goal differential. They were even before the Tottenham match last Sunday, which I don't even really want to break down. I want to get into. It was just a complete mess. Classic with this team. They just can't score goals. That's what it comes down to. And from this point on, I mean, Graham Potter, he's already been under the microscope, but now he's going to be under a 3D microscope, if that even makes sense. Whatever microscope shows closer than a regular microscope, he's under that. Because if this team fires 2 coaches in the same season, that's Southampton shit. That's bottom table relegation stuff from a club. And if this team goes down to that level, then I don't know. It's going to take years and years to get out of that mentality.